Hi, Intuitive viewers. I did not expect to be back so soon, but I wanted to chat with you guys for a minute about a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I wasn't sure of the context I wanted to put around it, but I think I found it. So I want to start by talking about Doreen Virtue. I think that she's the context I like to put this in. And for those of you who don't know, Doreen Virtue is was a kind of new age figure that she did a lot of oracle cards. She wrote books and talked a lot about spirituality and that kind of stuff, angels, things like that. And I think 2017, again, this is new to me. I didn't know all of this, but I think in 2017 or 18, she made a complete turnaround. And she is now a born again evangelical Christian and has since denounced basically the new age community and all the work she's done. She's like, don't buy my cards, and has written a book about how she's super Christian now. And she has a podcast, which unfortunately I did go and look at. It's very, what you'd expect from an evangelical Christian. One of the episodes I saw was a woman who was, she was gay, but then she found Jesus and she's not gay anymore, that kind of stuff. So very, very different than where she was. And as I kind of went down the rabbit hole, I was it kind of triggered me and made me kind of upset. And I thought, why am I getting so upset about this? Because I don't know this person. And I really, to be honest, her work really didn't, a lot of people loved her, but it never really resonated with me. And that's just the nature of spiritual teachers. Some resonate and some don't. And she never really did for me, but I do have one of her decks. I think it was a gift. And I never thought, anything negative about her or anything like that. So it wasn't a big blow to me, but I know people were very, very hurt because she used words like she denounced her past as evil, as lost, as Satan had hold of her. I mean, that kind of talk. And so I think it just, I guess it kind of triggered some offense in me. I was kind of offended. Yeah, that's probably the best word for it, since I was offended. And so I kind of talked to my guides about it and said, what the heck's going on here? Because when somebody is it triggered me for a couple of reasons, but when somebody is you see them as kind of enlightened, right? They're kind of in a spiritual awakening state, and they're searching and they're open, and then they go back to such a mainstream kind of restricted, closed, narrow view. You think, what is going on there? That is devolving, in my opinion. It seems like a de-evolution. And when I asked my guides about it, they said that, well, in her case, that she was very, she had questions about her own beliefs and wasn't sure about them, would have questioning times, and felt very adrift by herself, and then at the same time responsible for all the people who followed her when she wasn't even sure herself. And she wasn't really sure of anything herself. And so by veering off into something much more constricted and small in a way, she's able to kind of push everything onto God and Jesus, because everything is like, you know, if you, you know, if you just are, if you just believe in Jesus, if you just believe in God, that's it. And so anything that you have to say, oh, well, Jesus, this, God will take care of that. And Jesus can do that. It's everything's them. And so it kind of shifted the responsibility that she was feeling and the weight of that onto God and Jesus. It's all them. They're everything. Every answer is them. Every question is them. Everything is them. So that's what they told me. And I don't think it's conscious. You know, I think it's subconscious, but I think that sounds correct. But so I think that, but I think the offense came from, and this is what I want to talk to you guys about. When you awaken, I like the analogy of the play, right? Because when you awaken, your perspective gets much bigger and much broader. And you feel a lot more adrift in a way, because all of a sudden the whole world kind of opens up. Everything opens up to you, and you're kind of looking and discovering and trying this and trying that and seeing what resonates and seeing what doesn't, and what you know, it's a much more I would say unsure, but it's just much more open. There's so much more. It's not as one answer, Jesus and God. You know, it's not like that. It's very big, and there are all of a sudden you have lots of questions, and you're seeking lots of answers, and there's lots of ways to find these answers, and you really are depending on that part of you inside to kind of navigate this stuff and decide for yourself what resonates and what doesn't. And that can be it can feel unsure sometimes. And that's just part of the process. I'm here to tell you that's just part of the process. So I like the analogy of the play, right? So imagine that you are a baby born on a giant soundstage, and you're born on this soundstage, and they tell you, okay, your character name is Joanne, and you're the youngest of 3 kids, and your parents are these people, and you know the daughter of so-and-so, the granddaughter of so-and-so, you're white, you're Christian, all of these things are kind of built around you to give you your story. And then you grow up on this soundstage, and you just think this is it. And then one day you kind of wander away and realize, oh, it's just a soundstage. We're all just playing parts. Who am I really? Who is the real me? And that is a great analogy, I think, for when you realize, oh, I'm a spirit we're all just kind of here playing parts, learning lessons together, helping each other learn lessons. And this is what's happening. And who am I really? What is my spirit self? And that's the kind of journey you go on, is figuring out, who am I really? Where have I come from? Why am I here? And being in that awake state when everybody else is around you is in the play still, not realizing what's going on, it makes you feel a little nuts. And so I want to just come on to tell you that you're not crazy, that this is part of the process. And when people around you are still enthralled in the drama and the everyday stuff of life, we're exactly where they should be. You know, that's what we're born into, right? We're born on the soundstage. This is where we are. And we do have we don't remember where we come from, so we can be completely focused in on what we're supposed to do here. That's it. You know, that's what we're doing. So you can't fault them really for being completely immersed and involved, except when it gets to be that it makes them unhappy and miserable. And, you see all the heartache and violence and all of the things that are troubling about the world. When you can pull back and have that bigger context, things are so much easier. And, but in the day-to-day, that's not necessarily so, because you're kind of seeing things with a bigger perspective, and people around you are seeing things as in a more linear way. And coming back to Doreen Virtue, right? She's gone back to, it's almost like a person realizing, oh, this is a soundstage, and then being like, well, I'm just going to pretend like I don't know that, and I'm just going to start be in the play again and just put all that behind me. That's what it feels like, right? And you can understand why someone might do that, because you can feel a little bit adrift sometimes, and you can feel alone, because when people around you are just like, they're not where you are. And I don't mean like to say like I'm more evolved, or I'm more this or more that. It's not that. We're just in different places. That's it. Because we're all going to the same place eventually, but that's where we are right now. You can feel very alone. You can feel like, am I crazy? Am I the one that's crazy? Because everyone's, acting like this is a play. And yet I know it's so much more than this. And that standing in line at the bank doesn't really, it's okay. It's no big deal. And getting stuck in traffic is no big deal. It's fine. It's okay. This is all play. When you have that view, it can be very disconcerting, because everybody else is, I'm in traffic and I'm angry about it, and I'm mad at the person next to me, and you're seeing this from a completely different perspective, and it can be very lonely. And I think during Virtue doing this, I think people felt abandoned because they know how lonely it can be, and how weird you can feel sometimes, and to have someone totally embrace that and be part of it, and then turn their back on it and say, "Ugh, you're weird. I was weird, and now I'm not weird anymore." It's hurtful, right? It's hurtful. And I think that the reason that this is something I've been thinking about recently, that being awake is, it's a journey, and it's also something that you work at. That's why you have a daily practice, and that's why we have these communities, and that's why we come together to support one another in this, because in a world where most people are not awake yet, it's lonely. It can be lonely, and it also can be, it can make you feel a little nuts because you think, am I the crazy one? But no, I'm here to tell you that you're not. You're not crazy. You're just awake. And this is what it feels like to be kind of out of the play, looking at the play and thinking it's just a play. It's no big deal. Everything's okay, everybody. It's all fine. It's all okay. It's a much easier and happier place to be, I feel. And so the advice I want to give you, if you'll take it, is to just worry about you. Worry about where you are. And as Eckhart Tolle says that, as we learned in our club last month, we read A New Earth, that when we come in contact and we're surrounded by unconscious people or asleep people in the play, our number one objective, our primary, the primary thing we should be focused on is staying awake, staying conscious ourselves. So find a daily practice, even if it's just sitting and praying or meditating for a few minutes a day, something that keeps you connected to that soul self part of you, the divine, because although you can feel very alone because you're just on a different path now, you're not alone at all. There are a lot of people waking up and know exactly how you feel. And on the other side, we are being lifted up and helped. So reach out to that help that's there. Get in touch with your guides, get in touch with your inner light, and keep that light shining so that other people can see it when the time is right for them to awaken. Okay. So we have classes, join the classes if you want to. We have our mediumship class, we have our master class. I have online classes. If that's more your deal, that you want to just kind of do it on your own, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that, and hopefully it's a message that you can feel it in your heart, and it will help just a little bit on this journey. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.